Welcome back everybody to East Oath and Felghana. We're gonna go take on the dragon boss. Quick side note before we fight the dragon boss, I downed my difficulty, so we're not playing on Nightmare anymore, playing on hard difficulty. This boss was just it's taking me far too long to get through these bosses, and I need to sort of speed up these recordings because I can't spend 2 hours getting down a pattern just so I can turn it into a 5-minute recording. At the same time, obviously he doesn't do the same amount of damage. Doesn't seem to hold up against my attacks as well. Like, I'm pretty sure it took me 3 of those yellow dash attacks for him to fall down, whereas now it's just taking 2 of them. So, and instead of it doing 50 some damage, it's doing 20 some damage to me. So this will be more handleable, and then this will also allow us to hopefully speed through some of the other bosses, because I won't have to grind out excess levels, which will save me time, and get us through this game a little quicker. This is a pretty ridiculous attack, so what you have to do is you have to use your dash attack right as you're about to hit the land, or conversely just avoid the land entirely, and that'll keep you from taking damage. Probably should use my my super at this point. No, that's not good. Yeah, I'm out of power. I'm dead. So I'll have to remember to use my super this time, and then that should get me to the end here. That's why they give it to you in this game. They give you a super for a reason. It's best if you use it. I mean, I understand hardcore East players. They don't use magic. They don't use superpower. Unless it's 100% required to beat the boss, they will find a way to do this without needing to do any, needing to use it. So, like, obviously the first boss we've fought you don't have any magic for. Second boss, it's required you have magic, otherwise you won't beat it. But some of the bosses don't require you. Magic helps, it's not required to defeat them. Whereas I have to use magic here to knock him down so I can do damage. But I don't know of any other way to get around this. Alright, he's dead. Now we can move on with our lives rather than spend 15 million hours on this. This game very much can be horseshit. I don't have so much fucking trouble with that boss.
The 4 statues began resonating with one another, emitting an unnatural light in the process. As the light faded, the entire cavern grew deathly quiet.
Thank you, narrator. I'm not gonna try to teleport out of here, because I'm pretty sure I can't. because I need to experience cutscene.
The rocks were packed too tightly to be broken with the Terra bracelet. Adol was trapped.
Or am I?
Hey! Is that you in there, Adol? Are you hurt?
No, Dogi, I'm not hurt. Can you do the thing that you're known for?
Adol shouted back that he was uninjured.
Except for the giant dragon I fought.
Glad to hear my little buddy's okay.
Don't say it like that. It makes me
That
creepy.
quake caused some of the crevice walls to collapse. I managed to pick my way across, though. But now we gotta do something about these rocks. Adol, I'm gonna need you to step back for a second, okay?
I'm gonna do what Dogies do
Here
best.
we go!
Punch.
Yeah!
Anytime you see a wall and you hear Dogi, you can be pretty sure he's gonna crush him.
That's what I'm screaming. Walls 0, Dogi the Wall Crusher like 1,000,000. Who needs doors when they got me? That was a new record too, I think. Never took down solid rock before. Should get me in the history books.
It sure should.
So, looks like you found another statue. Is that all of them? Come on, let's head back to the Master's house.
That sounds wonderful. Give me a quick zip zap zooble.
Chester, you're here.
He sure is.
Of course. I've been kept well apprised of your actions. Seems you have all 4 statues now. So, as I said before, I think you'd best give them to me.
Or I could take the sword I have and put it through your guts.
Chester, there's just one thing I need to know. What are you planning to do with these statues?
A mere knight dares not question the motivations of Count Maguire, though I cannot entirely plead ignorance, as I've heard some rumblings on the nature of his glorious plan.
That's not what I asked you. I want to know what you plan to do with them.
Transparent as water.
How long have you known?
Since about halfway through this playthrough so far. I would say when you met me after I came out of the cave with the fire, and you said you got through that quicker than I thought you would, I kind of assumed you had ulterior motives.
I knew from the very beginning. I didn't believe for a second that you felt such contempt toward Elena. That's just not you. And I really couldn't see you serving someone as obviously corrupt as Maguire. Not willingly, anyway. So I figure you've got to have something else up your sleeve.
Your oafish exterior belies your perceptive nature. It always has.
Out with it, Chester. What are you really up to?
Very well. I suppose this is as good a time as any. What I seek is revenge.
The classic anti-hero, revenge.
Revenge?
You were born in Felghana, so undoubtedly you're familiar with Genos Island. I've never told you this before, but that is the land where my sister and I were born.
What? Wait a second. I always heard that Genos Island was wiped out by some kind of plague or something.
Indeed. We speak of the same place. However, it was not plague, but monsters that brought about the island's ruin.
Monsters?
Yes. Monsters. With the appearance of human skeletons clad in armor. They appeared out of nowhere and simply started massacring all the villagers. Our warriors fought back, of course, but the creatures just wouldn't stay dead. We stood no chance. In the end, Elena and I were the sole survivors of the attack.
But why? Why would monsters suddenly just appear like that?
It was no random occurrence, and therein lies the rub. Maguire was directly responsible for the massacre. He enlisted the services of a dark sorcerer for the task. My people were the descendants of Genos himself. We were charged with guarding the holy artifacts that had locked away the Demon Lord's power to prevent their misuse. I would assume McGuire simply considered us a threat to his ambitions. And that's how my sister and I were orphaned, and came to live with the mayor of Redmont. It's no surprise that Elena's memories of these events have been suppressed, given their extreme, horrific nature.
And her age.
Then, you want revenge on...
On McGuire. Yes, he will be destroyed by the very power he so desperately seeks. And he won't be the only one. I intend to see to it that every living creature in Velestein Castle burns in hell. Perhaps then, the wounded, defiled souls of my ancestral people can finally know true justice. At long last, after all these years, their anger and hatred will be appeased.
Use the wrong article there. It should be your anger and hatred will be appeased.
The parasitic slime who sits on Valestein's throne will benefit the entirety of Felghana as well. Now then, why don't you hand over the statues so this can all fall into place?
To be honest, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to react to all of it. I can't pretend to know how you feel, but just hear me out on one thing. Let's just say that your plan succeeds, and you do get your revenge. What then? Do you think it'll make Elena happy? Hell, will it really even make you happy?
A great question. A question that's very rarely asked to a character such as Chester.
Sure, McGuire might be a horrible man, and he may even deserve what you're planning for him. But imagine how Elena would feel, knowing the depths you'd sunk to in the name of vengeance. Do you think she'd be proud of what you accomplished? If you just step back and think about it, I know you'll find some other, less drastic way to deal with McGuire. If I explained everything to the townsfolk, they'd understand. And I bet they'd do what they could to help too. If everyone banded together, we could drive McGuire out of Felghana for good. Send him into exile. You don't have to disgrace yourself over scum like him. So come on. Please, Chester. You have to put a stop to this. Before, come back to town with us. We can all sit down and have a good time. Maybe enjoy one of Elena's home-cooked meals.
Look how far I've come, though. Do you honestly believe I can go back now? After all this? No.
This is where the turn is. He's given an option by a more or less benevolent character to turn from his ways, essentially forgo the path that he seeks right now, and he thinks about it and doesn't believe that he can come back after everything he's done to this point.
There's no turning back for me!
And stabs Dogi.
Chester, you stupid son of a bitch.
And with that, seals his
There
fate.
is still time to save him. If you want him to live, give me the statues. Now!
So what purpose does that serve? I give you the statues.
Adol gave the statues to Chester.
Excellent. Now, I can use the power of these statues to hurtle all of Valestein Castle into the darkest depths of hell. I hardly need to say it at this point, but you may wish to reconsider trying to stop me. Unless, of course, you want to end up like him.
Oh, I see. If I give him the statues, he walks away. It gives me time to save Dogi. Or I fight him and Dogi bleeds
I can't
out.
believe Chester attacked Dogi. This is all my fault, actually. 12 years ago, I served as a Valestein knight. I was there on Genos Island that day. All the knights were. Our task was to provide backup for Maguire's sorcerer. In other words, we would man the sidelines and terminate any villagers who tried to escape. And we did just that.
As Adolf slowly reaches for his side knife.
But then I met the Stoddard children. And despite my sworn oath to Maguire, I couldn't bring myself to harm them.
As I put my dagger back into its sheath.
I hid them instead, and snuck them away from the carnage. But I knew I couldn't raise them, so I left them with the mayor and shamefully ran away to this godforsaken shack. I spent my days slowly unraveling Maguire's plans and researching the old tales of Genos and
Gabalon.
Chester never knew of my knighthood, but he was well aware that I'd saved his life, so he and Dogi would often visit. As such, while secretly investigating Maguire, I also took it upon myself to train the two of them in the art of war. Dogi's departure aside, things continued in this manner until just last year. Around the time monsters started appearing all across Felghana, Chester came to see me in quite a panic. The monsters had brought his memories of Genos Island to the surface, and he had no idea how to cope. I told him everything, every single thing I knew about his past and about my role within it. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I suppose I was looking for some manner of catharsis. All it did was exacerbate Chester's desire for revenge. To be perfectly honest, I haven't the slightest idea what Chester intends to do with the statues.
So some truths deserve to be brought to the light of day, and others should continue to be buried. It brings about a greater good. I usually don't agree with that sentiment. Usually more of a honesty trumps all sort of person, but in a case like this where you have got someone who's impressionable and your sins of your past come back to you, and you are to admit it to a person who is personally affected by your sins is being particularly large, not great, as he says, exacerbated Chester's intent to seek revenge.
He's willing to stab an old friend to get them, and I doubt there's much hope of talking him down.
Yeah, the talking down portion ended when you stabbed Dogi.
If we let him continue unchecked, the damage he inflicts won't be limited to Valestein Castle, but all of Felghana.
Yeah, it's unlikely he'll be able to control whatever power he seeks to release.
I must ask that you go back to town immediately and tell... You needn't worry. I'll take care of Dogi. And once he's back on his feet, I intend to pay the castle a visit.
But he's also one hell of a fighter. Better in no time. Dogi saw a look of pain flash across Dogi's face, which she could offer some comfort. That's sad. Boink, 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 boink. Off I go. Oh, good. Got a bunch of dead soldiers, and the town guard is,
Adol, we're in a bad way. We were attacked by soldiers from Valestein, and some of them made it inside. Hurry, you need...
Alright, let me get my whetstone out. Sharpen, sharpen, sharpen. Okay, my blade's nice and sharp now. Oh, they're like zombies, great.
Oh, Helena, I'm scared. It's okay. I'm here. Please, do what you want with me, but let her go.
No, you're not doing anything to anybody. little too close for comfort. There was a lot of damage he dealt to me, though.
Thanks for saving me, Mr. Adol.
Thanks, Mr. Adol!
You truly are a lifesaver. Thank you, Adol. But why? Why would the Valestine soldiers attack us?
Great question.
Adol, what's wrong? You look even more flustered than we are.
Adol reluctantly told her that her brother had stabbed Dogi in the Elder Mountains.
Again, not telling the truth sometimes.
My God, why? Why would he ever do that?
Are you two okay?
Sister Nell? Papa and Father Pierre, too.
When we realized you weren't at the church, we panicked. Thank God you're all right.
We wouldn't be if it weren't for Adol. I'm sorry, sister. I know you told us to seek shelter.
Honestly, you'll be the death of us one of these days, Elena.
Now, Sister Nell. She was clearly just trying to find Anya. We can hardly blame her for that. I still can't believe McGuire's grown so brazen, though, as to send his soldiers to attack the town.
I think it may be worse than that, actually. Did you get a good look at them as they attacked? Something about them seemed off. Disturbingly so. None of them spoke a single word. And their movements were like those of wooden dolls, dangling from strings.
Now that you mention it, we're not safe here. We should return to my house to further discuss the matter and propose a course of action. I'd like for you to come as well, Adol.
I would hope so, as I've taken care of most of the plot so far.
I had no idea Chester was hiding a secret like that all this time. He lived under my roof for 10 years, and never once did I question where he came from or how much he remembered. I feel like such a fool.
I feel like that'd be something that would eat at you at a certain point. Like, how much do you remember of your childhood?
Please don't blame yourself, Mayor. Right now, we need to focus on the matter at hand. We need to focus on Valestine Castle. What we know is that Chester is planning to take his revenge through the power contained in those statues. The question is, are those statues in some way responsible for the lifeless, soulless appearance of our attackers?
Probably.
It seems that way. I think now would be a good time to get in touch with Bishop Nicholas at the castle.
Excuse me.
Sister, what's wrong? You're white as a ghost.
The soldiers haven't returned, have they?
No, it's just that I haven't seen Elena for some time now, and when I asked the children where she went, it seems she's left town again.
What?
Well, that's not good. She must have heard about Chester and gone to Valestine Castle.
Yes, I think that's a safe assumption. It's an awfully rash thing to do, though, even for her.
Dear me. Adol, I'm sorry to ask, but won't you please find Elena and bring her home to us? I can't bear to think of what might happen to her out there.
Without hesitation, Adol agreed.
You'll do it? Thank you, Adol.
We're truly in your debt, Adol. I hate that we've been such a burden to you since your arrival here.
Godspeed on your journey. I will pray for your health and success. Best of luck to you, Adol.
Oh, Bishop Nicholas is okay. We haven't forgotten that he too is caught in the thick of this mess. Pray for his safety. Took my eyes off Elena for only for a single moment, and then it happened. Adol, please find her. Interesting song we got here. In case you're wondering, no, I was not looking for her in our house.